Okay, funny magic story time. I guess this isn't that funny. It's more of a caution, this one. But it could be, if you play it right, better than I did. I had to learn basically a type of invisibility. It's not like a literal Harry Potter invisibility cloak, but just matching your energy signature to the background in the environment, or code switching over and over. Like if you just visualize what energy you're projecting, you could visualize, now I'm an elephant, now I'm a giraffe, now I'm a broken mirror. Why on earth would you do something like that with your energy? Well, basically because anyone who's trying to get at your energy to use it, whether that is a psychopath, a narcissist, or someone with lower tendencies, who knows some energy work, they like to latch on to energy and use it. So that could look like manipulation, but it could look like, if you've ever been around someone difficult and like everything you do they mirror it, or everything you do they oppose it, I'm talking about that kind of a person, right? So you don't need to know the fancy like names or know exactly what's wrong with them mentally. I just learned this because when I was in trauma therapy, I actually had this brilliant therapist who had a similar trauma background to me, just different family members that were psychopathic, sociopathic. And she showed me this book that has diagrams of how people use their energy when they are trying to control you, or when they're in conflict with you, or when they're trying to drain you. I never thought of it as being that real. But I guess there's really something to it, just because it hooks into, different parts of your anatomy that go with those parts of you they're trying to control, more or less. Anyway, a psychopath will kind of come from the top of their head or the back of their head and reach over and try and clamp onto your head or hook into parts of you. It's real gnarly. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can tune off now. It's not going to make sense until you study a ton of this stuff, or maybe it's just not the right explanation for you. Anyway, you can avoid that with this type of invisibility. So I actually learned it on my own through shamanic journeying meditation, because I'd had this feeling that I was just being, I don't want to say followed, but like, even my therapist thought this. She said, I think that there's this like body hopping demon, or maybe it's not a demon, but like jealous consciousness that just gets provoked in people around you because you refuse to not be yourself, or you refuse to be corrupted. I'm not perfect, but like I really am absolutely gonna plant my flag and die on that hill of trying to be a good person, regardless of the consequences. And that bothers some people. So I realized that if I wanted to get this thing off my tail, whatever it is, conscious or not, I was going to have to change my energy signature. This is probably a terribly complicated way of saying something really simple, which is that if you want to not attract really dangerous people, you have to change how you show up energetically without losing yourself. So I don't know if this is gonna make any sense, but what I did was meditate on going into a dimension of, I guess, my dreams, subconscious, where this entity or consciousness had followed me or something. I don't quite remember what it was. It would be different for you anyway. But it was just sort of this like, all right, I'm gonna put myself in the space where this thing tracked me, and then I'm going to cover my tracks. And so this is all a visualization, and it's just energy work on your own brain and your own energy to change things, and it's just a symbolic picture, right? But it does have an effect that's very real. I basically took care of it by either, I don't think I dispatched any entity, I just, I think it had like a excuse me, like a fire, like a bonfire in the woods in whatever this symbolic dimension was, and I put the fire out, disassembled whatever it was doing, and then covered my tracks. And then intuitively, I just had this sense of, this is a separate meditation, but basically being chased, and my solution to it in this sort of like past life regression, different story, but it kind of attaches to this, was just hang in a gray mist, like up above the ground. I think it's probably not the healthiest state to be in because it's not very grounded. If you've had a lot of near-death experiences, you'll understand that sort of checked out, dissociated state, and it actually makes you fairly vulnerable physically to accident and illness and people getting in your energy, because you're kind of like not guarding your home territory. But temporarily, it works fantastically well to avoid interactions and conflicts with people who come straight at you. Much simpler way of handling this is just to stand sideways. Don't stand like directly opposing somebody face on, because no matter what they say, if they're upset, it can feel like an attack. If you stand to the side and kind of let it go past you, or let it go around you or even through you if you have to, and just don't hold on to it, that has kind of the same effect. So why is this a caution? The ungrounded thing, yes, but also because two things. One, it really does make you invisible to people sometimes, not like physically they can't see you, but like they don't notice you. I got in 2 car accidents when I was doing this little trick of mine, so I had to modify it. And 2, it will basically make narcissists' heads explode. There was somebody at my kids' elementary school that worked there, and I'd never met her. And she just seemed very competitive and jealous, and like she brought all the kids out front to kiss them goodbye, to make a big show of things, and she didn't like any competition. She was just a really odd person, very insecure. And for some reason, she took a serious disliking to me without ever having spoken to me, and would try and stand in my space and like sort of quietly bully me or cause problems for my kid indirectly, which is absolutely where I draw the line. But when I would switch my energy like that, like I'm an elephant, I'm a giraffe, I'm a broken mirror, she couldn't do anything with it. She couldn't even figure out who she was dealing with, much less why she didn't like me. So it was very unpleasant still. I wouldn't recommend sticking around people like that if you don't have to on a daily basis. But I don't know, if you actually get sick enough of people doing that to you or something like that, that you will just about handle it any way you need to, it's more fun than directly confronting somebody who has no reason to have beef with you anyway. So I don't know if that's applicable to anybody else out there, but that is how you do invisibility shapeshifting magic.